I used to think neglect had a sound, something obvious. Doors slamming, raised voices, cruel sentences people remembered forever. But in my family, neglect sounded more like ordinary conversation continuing without you. By third or fourth, I had stopped expecting birthdays to matter. My parents always remembered my brother Daniel's, of course. There were restaurant reservations for him, cakes with embarrassing candles, group photos, my mother posting paragraphs online about the joy of motherhood. Mine usually arrived as an apology sometime around midnight. This year, nobody even reached that far. I worked late from my apartment, answering invoices with the television running quietly in the background. Around 9 May, I reheated soup and checked my phone. No missed calls. No messages except automated emails and a discount. Notification from a furniture store. I wasn't devastated. That was the uncomfortable part. I had rehearsed this disappointment enough times that it no longer surprised me. Around 11:00, a notification appeared from Instagram. Daniel's wife, Kiara, had tagged the family. I almost ignored it. The video opened to shouting and laughter in my parents' driveway. Daniel stood outside in a pressed blue shirt, pretending to look shocked, while my father tossed him a set of car keys. My mother kept clapping too loudly into the camera. "Surprise!" Kiara yelled. "The car is yours, courtesy of the best parents ever." Everyone looked warm in that video, lit from inside by certainty. I noticed details automatically. The dealership logo, the financing envelope on the hood. 3 months earlier, my father had called me saying cash was tight because of temporary business pressure. I had transferred money that same evening so they could stabilize things. I remember delaying repairs on my own apartment bathroom afterward. The realization arrived quietly. Not that they loved Daniel more. I had known that since childhood. It was realizing they had stopped noticing what things cost me. I closed the app, then I opened my laptop. The shared electricity account was under my card. I removed it. Daniel's phone plan still routed through my family package from years ago. Back when he was getting back on his feet, I canceled my authorization, streaming subscriptions, medication auto refills for my father, internet backup payments. My mother forgot existed. One by one, no dramatic messages, no final speech, just administrative corrections. By midnight, everything was separated cleanly enough that even I felt strange looking at it, like discovering hidden wiring behind a wall you'd stared at for years. I slept better than I expected. 2 days later, my mother showed up at my apartment trembling, not angry. That would have been easier. She stood in the hallway, clutching her purse with both hands, while I unlocked the door. "What happened?" she asked immediately. I looked at her. "To what?" "The accounts. The payments. Your father said the supplier called this morning. Daniel's phone stopped working in the middle of his trip." I set my keys on the counter and waited. For years, I'd imagined this conversation happening with screaming, tears, accusations. Instead, my mother just looked frightened, like someone realizing a staircase. They used every day had been held together by a beam they never inspected. "You removed everything," she said softly. "Yes, why?" I almost answered too quickly. "Because you forgot my birthday. Because you bought Daniel a car after borrowing money from me. Because every family emergency somehow became my responsibility, while every celebration belonged to him." Standing there, I realized the deeper answer was harder to explain. Because nobody noticed I was carrying any of it. My mother sat at the kitchen table without taking off her coat. "When were you going to tell us you felt this way?" I laughed once before I could stop myself. Not bitterly, just tired. "Tell you what exactly?" "That you were upset." I opened the refrigerator mostly to avoid looking at her. There had been signs for years. The graduation dinner they skipped because Daniel had a rough week. The vacation I paid toward but wasn't included in because there wasn't enough room. My father introducing me proudly to relatives as the independent one. Never understanding independence had slowly become unpaid labor. But families like ours survived through soft denial. Nothing terrible happens all at once. It accumulates quietly until one person finally stops cooperating. My mother stared at the floor tiles. "We thought you didn't need things from us." There it was. The sentence underneath every other sentence. Daniel needed, I managed. Need always looked more lovable to them. "I did," I said carefully. "You just like me better when I acted like I didn't." She started crying then, but even that felt restrained, embarrassed by itself. I didn't comfort her immediately. That was new too. After a while she asked, "Are you going to help us fix this?" Not forgive us. Not can we talk, fix this. I leaned against the counter and realized something had already changed permanently between us. Not because I hated them, I didn't. That would have been simpler, but they could no longer pretend my role in the family was optional. "I'm not reconnecting the accounts," I said. My mother nodded slowly like she'd expected that answer before arriving. For the first time in my life, she looked at me not as the dependable daughter orbiting the family, but as a separate adult with the ability to withhold something real. The silence between us changed shape after that. Less comfortable, more honest. A few weeks later, my father emailed me a formal repayment plan for the money I lent them. The tone was painfully professional. Daniel sent one defensive message about how the car wasn't even fully paid off yet, then disappeared again. Nobody mentioned my birthday. Oddly, that stopped bothering me. One Friday after work, I bought myself a small chocolate cake from a bakery near my office. The woman behind the counter asked if I wanted candles. I almost said no, then I said yes. That night I sat alone in my apartment, eating cake from the box, while my family group chat argued about internet, bills and account passwords without me. The apartment was quiet, not lonely, just quiet. And for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like something being taken away from me. It felt like something returned.